All right, so here's the response from Google, and we're going to need to extend our schema to be able to store Google-specific information. So let's do that. Let's go to the user schema, right, and extend it to support the Google-related information. So I'm going to copy this, and in the schema, I'm just going to add it towards the bottom. There it is. So there's going to be a new attribute Google that has an embedded schema of IDs and tokens. So the ID is just going to be a plain old string, and the token also is just going to be a string. Okay, so there we have the schema to store this data. So what we'd like to be able to do is be able to retrieve that user once they've been created and inserted into a database, right? And to retrieve them, we're going to add a new API, right, to our model that can retrieve that user by that Google ID, right? So to do that, we're going to go to the model, the user model, and let's add it to the finder methods up here. User model, find user by ID, and then implement that, right? We're going to say function find user by Google ID and provide the argument, the Google ID. And the other thing we need to do is go into database and see if that user exists or not, right? So we're going to return the user model find. Presumably there's only one user with that Google ID, right? And so we can just find, and there's only one of them. So find one. And the filter will be based on the schema. And the schema is that we want to compare it against this ID attribute, which is embedded inside of another attribute, the Google attribute. So the identifier for this property is Google.id, right? Because one is inside of the other. We'll use the dot notation. So this will be Google.id. And we're going to pattern match that against the Google ID parameter, right? If it matches, I'll return the record that goes for that Google ID. Otherwise, it will be null. Okay. So once we have that, we're basically done, right? We can try this out, see if this explodes. So if we restart the server, and let's log in. Let's try it from incognito. And we go to assignment, graduate, index, and we try to log in. Right? If we click on Google, right, notice that since we don't have any cookies for Google, Google is challenging me with for the username and password. So I'll log in with Januzzi. And my password. Okay, not quite. Well, I think actually it worked, right? But it kicked me out to hash profile, which doesn't match anything, right? So it's at the root. It's at the root of the application, right? Really, it should have gone where? It should have gone into assignment, graduate, index, and then profile. Notice that I am logged in, right? Because I have a cookie. I have my server's cookie. It let me go into my profile without logging in. See that? And notice that I grabbed Januzzi from Google and my email, my first name, my last name, and it made an entry into my database, which we can take a look at. So here's my user, and there it is. So there's Januzzi, right? And there's my Google ID, my token. It's a very long token, right, with the role user. Notice there's no password, right? Notice that I had to remove password as being a required field, okay, because it's only required if I'm logging in as just with credentials as opposed to Google, right? I don't know the Google's password. That makes sense, right? And and once it's Google is created, it's treated like any other account. Okay, that makes sense, right? And I can log out and create websites for that particular Google user. Does that work? Oh, right, because we don't have that website. There we go. So if I list, right, I have the websites that I just created for Google. All right, that makes sense. All right, awesome.